Hello and welcome to another episode of Ken Training, where we try to give you, the YouTube audience, the training that you need to tackle projects like this one on your own. Today's project is going to be an epoxy countertop sample board. So I'm fascinated by epoxy countertops. So I've been watching Mike Quist in Stone Coat Countertops and a boatload of their videos, and I finally built up the ambition to start my own project. So I went and spent about $300 in a startup kit and to do a project. And I've made up 4 sample boards. I got one sample board right here that we're going to dive right into. And the first kit that I'm going to do is called the Epoxy White and Brass Marble. It's consisting of 4 spray paints. Let me show you everything. So basically, I've got 2 different epoxies. I've got the art coat, which I'm not going to do. That's just out there for demonstration purposes. So here you can see the epoxy we're going to use for our project, which is the original Stone Coat Countertop Epoxy Resin A and B. This one here is a little bit more inexpensive than what they call the art coat. I plan on doing some pieces that have that I want to go outside. So the art coat is supposed to be more UV resistant, so that's why I purchased some of that project. Here's the spray paints that we're going to be working with today for the sample piece that we're on right now. Let's see if I can give you the names here. So this one here is antique brass, this one here, and then the next one over is called silver metallic. The next one over is black gloss, and that's white gloss. You can see that they're Rust-Oleum products and so forth. Here's the sample board that I have made up for us for our purposes. It's MDF with an inch and a half overhang. So let me just flip that over so you can see what the bottom of it looks like. And I just have it resting on 4 paint cans, some old paint cans, and this is what it looks like underneath. So you can see how I did my overhang and everything. And I just have it sitting out here. Now, as far as the sample board and epoxy goes, doing my measurements, taking the inch and a half overhang into consideration, the size of the piece is 39 inches by 25 inches approximately, and then that equates to 897 square inches. Then you divide that by 144, you come up with 6.22 square feet. I'm going to do 5 ounces per square foot for this pour, and it might be a little bit heavy, but I'd rather be a little heavy than a little light. So if I take 5 and I multiply that by 6.22 square feet, so it's 5 ounces per square foot, that equates to 31.14 ounces for the project. So I have a bucket right here, and it's a 2-quart bucket. Let me show it to you. I have a 2-quart bucket here, and what we're going to do is we're going to go to the 32 ounce mark, which is right there. So it's going to be 16 ounces of part B resin, 16 ounces of part A resin. Mix that up. Now I also have a clock in the background, and by the way, I should also mention that we are just simply working here in my garage, okay? I was going to wait for this project till the summertime because epoxies you want are temperature sensitive. So I got a heater going right now. So this heater is going right there. It's a winter time here. It's December 28th and in Southern California, and I got my epoxy. It's been sitting over there for an hour, so it's definitely hot enough. It'll flow no problem. I got a thermometer here. Now this tells you that the room that we're working in is 63.5 degrees Fahrenheit, but I'm telling you, I'm wearing my t-shirt and it feels warmer than that. Now number 3 is the outside temperature. So outside it's 55 degrees Fahrenheit and 81% relative humidity. It's kind of a rainy day out there, but here the relative humidity is 49%. So I am going to get my epoxy. Oh, and by the way, I should also mention, you can see I've got 2 drop cloths going on. I got my bottom drop cloth. I'm working on my my work surface here, which is just a couple of sawhorses and an old door. I got plastic sheeting and I built a dam over that so that if I epoxy overflow, it should flow and stay within the dam. Okay, so I'm trying to keep my work area clean. I also have a blowtorch over there ready to go. I got a heat gun over there ready to go. Now, because heat guns pull a lot of power, I had to plug that into a separate circuit. This particular one is on circuit 9, and this one over here, the heat gun, is on circuit 13. So I can leave the heat on for the entire project and not worry about tripping out a breaker once I start putting the heat gun on. So, and I also got I got some gloves over there that I can use for the project as well. Some rubber gloves. So basically that's it. I'm going to shake up my cans, 2 minutes each, have the cans ready to go. Then I'm going to start working on the epoxy. I'm going to mix up my epoxy for 3 minutes, and then we'll go to town. So just to give you a time reference, it's about 11:30 right now. Just to get to this step with the prep, getting the boards all prepped and everything like that. Believe me, it took me an enormous amount of time just to get to this readiness stage where I'm ready to mix the epoxy and actually pour for the first time. Okay, all of our spray paints have been mixed up for 2 minutes for each can. We have the 2 epoxies here. We're going to start with part B and then we'll put in part A. I want 16 ounces, which is that first mark right there. Epoxy should flow nicely because I've been heating it up. Alright, so I'm going to go for 3 minutes right now, watching the clock. Okay, that's been 3 minutes. Alright, we're going to do 6 mixing cups, 4 of them white and silver, and 2 of them with the darker colors, the black and the metallic. So first what I want to do is pour out the epoxy in equal size containers here. Okay, so the black and the silver is going to be for these 2, and the silver here and the white here. So as I spray this in for about 10 seconds each, I'm going to put the shop vac on, so it's going to get loud while I do this. Okay, now we're going to do a flood coat. So I'm going to start off with the white. Go with some silver. Go with a little bit of metallic and some black. And now, set that aside, I'm going to take my tongue depressor and I'm going to press that out. And I'm not going to try to mix it too much. Just going to try to get it down there to have a base coat, to have a flood coat. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a dirty pour with the epoxies that I have. what that means is I'm going to put them all back in the container and mix it all up at the same time. Okay, now I'm going to make a dirty pour by pouring all the epoxies back into the original bucket and mixing it with spray paint at the same time. So I'm just going to start off with some white. Then I'm just going to put in a little bit of black spray paint. And I'm just getting my cups ready, my spray paint ready here. Need some silver. Go with some of this. Alright. And go with some of this. Go with some white. The spray paint fumes are getting to me. I'm going to have to put my respirator on. It's a little bit too much. Alright, we have our dirty pour mixture ready to go, but I poured out these extra containers, so I just want to spread that out so it's just not so like that. Okay. Okay, now let's go ahead and try our dirty pour for the first time. Looks like it's coming out a lot darker than I thought. You know what? I just thought of something. One thing I forgot to do is I forgot to make sure that this piece was level. It looks like this piece is pitched this way because it's dripping off of here. It's not hitting that side there. I might have to do something to bring this up a little bit here. I got to put some wood shims under here. Put them underneath here to try to bring that up a little bit so it's not quite at a low spot on this side over here. This piece here doesn't not look exactly the way I like. Alright, it looks like I'm going to have to move this around, and I haven't even popped any bubbles yet or anything. But it definitely looks a little splotchy. But let me get the heat gun going and let me see if I can't move this around a little bit. going to see if I can't break this surface tension here by picking up some of this material that's fallen and come in here and try to get this to surface tension to break. Alright, I'm going to try to get a little bit more visual interest in here by scraping the drips off and doing a vein. So let's see if I can have any success with this. So I've got this, and now I'm going to try to come across. Okay, hang on. Try that again. Okay, looks like this is pretty much going to be my final product. There's the time, and there's the temperature, 66 degrees at 48% relative humidity. And I still got the heater going. I'm just going to leave the heater on. But this is what the piece looks like, so you can get a good idea of what it looks like as it's dripping and flowing over the edge. I put some extra veins in this section here by grabbing the drips underneath and putting them on the top here in order to give it some more visual interest, because I thought it was a little boring in this section right here. Corners look a little light. I tried to scoop some off the bottom and pour it onto the corners to give it some more, like here you can see right there, and that it's just dripping down right now. But I want to I don't want to get the whole thing, because I wanted to kind of show the lines that's coming down to make it look like a slab. But this here is what the piece looks like. My first piece ever. It takes a little getting used to working with the epoxy, for sure. I'm glad this is just a sample piece and not like some major countertop. All in all, it does not look bad. I guess this might look a little man-made. I'm gonna do some other pours to get a little practice in. But right now, I'm just gonna let it continue to drip. I'm gonna take 20 minutes or so. I'll come back here at about 2:30 and then check on it again. I should mention that on the sample boards of the MDF that I made, I did radius cuts on the top and on the bottom of the edge profile to allow it to roll over the edge and roll underneath smoothly for the epoxy job. I did not use the torch for this project. I ended up not needing the torch. I just ended up using the heat gun. To try to keep the heat gun clean, I just wrapped it in a paper towel there to try to keep the epoxy off of it. This is definitely a messy job. I think I popped all my bubbles, trying to show you the glare there, to show you what it kind of looks like as this thing is curing out. It looks like it's pretty much smooth as glass, but I can see like there'll be some ridges or something there. I don't know if I'm going to be top coating this. This is just a sample board, so I don't know. I don't want to waste more epoxy on just a top coat, but if I did, I'd have to sand it and then top coat it so it would be perfectly smooth. Okay, so that's it for now. Alright, here's the time, and let's see, the temperature still says 56 degrees outside, and here's the piece. I just put it off to the side here so I could kind of try to clean up. You can see all the drips that I caught here. It's good that I had this little dam system to kind of try to keep the drips on the inside. But here's the piece for my first epoxy job, and you know, for my first one, I mean, it's not bad. I mean, it could even be a very good piece. I think my white here is a little bit too light. I think I should have put silver on the sides rather than the white. So when I do my next sample pieces, I might do that, because I can kind of see, like right here, how it really lightens up the way when it rolls over the side here. So I can really notice that. Over here it's not quite so bad, this particular side, but the other side is, I don't know, that might just be me overreacting as well. I'm not sure. You know, just trying to figure out how this works. But the piece does not look bad. I mean, just look at all the visual interest that you have here. It is not a bad looking piece. I was able to add in these extra veins here because there was a little bit of a dead spot right there. The silver paint kind of splattered a little bit. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing yet. I'm still digesting that. But anyways, this is all just with the spray paints, just with the 4 spray paints that are right over there. So with just that and the epoxy, it's certainly not a bad looking piece of work. Okay, that's going to conclude this video. I hope that you enjoyed the video. Now please click on like. This was my first time working with the product. It definitely, if you're going to start working with this epoxy product, you want to start off with some sample pieces and not go right into your main job. That's totally my recommendation. So I'm going to keep playing around with this. I'm going to do another sample piece coming up, and we'll go from there.